like an abandoned bunker. Let's go! Let's go! Oh yeah! Found a bunker made back that way. Open up your cans. It's time for bunker painting. Let's go! We're gonna answer fake questions. Let's go! So get your drinks and savage. Let's go! Now let's hear it for the host. Yes!
Alright, welcome back to another top 10. The last top 10 kind of went off the rails, but we're gonna try again. We're not giving up. This one's about office stuff. I know it's a completely different 180, but I know a lot about office stuff. At least I think I do. So here we go. Hey, all you seasoned corporate survivors, cubicle warriors, and workplace wisdom dispensers, I'm a total office newbie, or maybe just feeling like one again, who's trying to navigate the hidden rules, drama, and politics without stepping on landmines or burning bridges. Help me bust the common myths and get real advice so I can thrive without turning into a cynical shell. Hey, I resemble that. Question 1. I have situation. Everyone says just keep your head down and do great work and success will follow automatically. Is it true that pure hard work and talent alone will get you noticed and promoted, or is that a big office myth? Head down, Harry. Unfortunately, head down, Harry. Doing hard work and talent. Talent. I hardly even run into anyone talented anymore. But we'll just do the hard work part. Doing hard work, if you don't balance it with managing your optics, is a good way of getting all your work stolen. And you're dealing with people, you're directly competing with everybody around you who are exercising what are called work theatrics, and they've been the illusion of production and output just being completely manufactured on demand, usually by just reporting out what other people are working on. And so you have to work hard while also working smart and prioritizing in such a way to where and then you need to be able to report out your own work as your work, which is going to be incredibly difficult. There's going to be layers on top of you and to both sides who are trying to steal your work. And so, if at all possible, having a good project manager or having a good lead who properly attributes work, which isn't always possible, helps you navigate that to give you the proper credit for the work you've done. If you do not have that, your hard work and talent are going to get stolen until they have enough to where they do not need you anymore. Then they will take your promotion and kick you to the curb. So, I would say, you're not going to win them all. It takes a team that's all moving forward together for the betterment of the team, which means properly attributing everyone for the work they do. Question 2. I have situation. I've heard that office politics is just gossip and backstabbing, and the best strategy is to avoid it completely. Can you really stay out of office politics entirely, or is some involvement unavoidable? Politics avoiding Paula. you have to be aware of it without becoming absorbed and sucked into it, because especially if there's two cows going at it, both cows are going to try to suck you in, force you to pick a side, and you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to be aware of it, while still not saying anything that lends you to either side, which means not even having an opinion, not getting cornered into giving an opinion, and realizing that as soon as you do that, they're going to turn on you. They're probably both going to turn on you, and you just be above it. Say, like, listen, it sounds like you two have something you need to work out. I'm super busy. I'm sorry. Well, don't you think it's wrong? Don't you think it's that? Don't look. You know, it sounds like you guys got something. You know, I wish you both the best of luck in getting that figured out. I gotta go though. I'm really sorry. And let your manager know that they're trying to suck you into office drama, and that it's becoming disruptive, despite your best efforts to stay out of it. And a big part of that is if you never talk about anybody, they can never say or do anything that says that you're a part of it. Be like, look, I don't have an opinion either way. I'm here to work. I have a job to do. I have outputs, and I just don't talk about other employees either way. So that's how I've managed to stay out of it. And people will straight up ask me, like, what do you think about this person? What do you think about that person? I'll say, you know, I do my job. Sorry. I don't talk about other, you know, you gotta be careful to not say I don't talk about other employees, because it implies that they are talking about other employees, but they do. And I had someone tell me once, if you won't give me dirt on people, I won't trust you anymore. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why trust was ever on the table when I don't ever talk about anybody. So that means none of your information is getting shared with anybody else either, but whatever, here we are. That was the last time that person ever talked to me, and I don't care, because they were already abusing the work I was doing anyway. So no, you can't stay out of it. You need to be aware of it, but just don't get sucked into it, which is easier said than done. But if you're working, if you've got a busy full day, you'll be busy and working. And if they come to your desk, sometimes it means finding another place to sit. You know, if you've got like some kind of flex cubes, conference rooms, somewhere you can hide, but you don't want to hide too much, because then those optics are bad, and that's bit me in the ass before. Hope that helps. Politics avoiding Paula. Question 3. I have situation. People claim the loudest, most confident person in meetings always wins favor with the boss, despite being the most vocal really... No, wait. Does being the most vocal really equal being seen as the most competent? Quiet in meetings, Quinn. Yes. The most vocal is constantly being seen as the most competent. And if you challenge them, you're perceived as being combative, even if they're saying the most ignorant stuff on the planet, or just like borderline showing up to work drunk or high. If they have the manager's favor, they have the manager's favor, no matter how insane they are. And I'd be lying if I said that it doesn't trigger me sometimes into blurting out that what they're saying is not true. But you can't do that, especially if they're your boss, or especially if management perceives them as some golden child, some prodigy, even though they're clearly just drunk or high or both, or on prescription meds or whatever, because all of those things will make people say stupid stuff a lot, and they aren't aware of it because in their brain they sound amazing, and they don't realize that they're arguing with things that are written down in black and white on a screen that everyone's reading together, and they'll still want to argue and fight, just like belligerent drunks at a bar or restaurant. They just get belligerent. But again, if management loves them, then they are just not gonna see that somehow. And so what I do, not everybody likes this, I just let them talk. I let them talk the whole meeting. Sometimes if I'm feeling like a real asshole, I will ask them just loaded questions that make them say even stupider shit, and you shouldn't do that. But I do, because it's just like, oh, well, here we go, I guess. And I just let them say the dumbest, and I go, oh, yeah. And then the meeting's over, and they just ran the clock out, and then they leave, and I schedule another meeting, and I have the whole meeting again without them. And they go back feeling amazing, and I go back with the people who were actually contributing in the meeting, and we do the real work, and I just carve around them, like carving around the mold on cheese. And they'll be back next week just saying their belligerent shit again. And yes, I am thinking of a person right now that I have that problem with, and something's wrong. Something's wrong with them. I can't put my finger on it. It could be alcohol. I don't know what it is. The dude's just gonzo though, and I don't have any ill will towards him, but he blows a third of every single one of my meetings, and I just let him do it. And I have a lot of different behavioral problems. People with behavior problems, and I let every single one of them just run that clock. And some of them just like to say their one or two things, and unfortunately this is how it starts. It starts with them wanting to say their one or two things, so they seem competent. And that used to trigger me, and I used to call them out, and then it caused a lot of friction in meetings. Now I let them say their one or two things, and I just ignore them and just keep moving on. But what that seemed to do is, I think when I get the meeting back on track and start talking about real stuff, now I've noticed they've wanted to start attacking me. Not because they want to attack me, but because I think they are now being seen as being incompetent, and they try to overcompensate by trying to one-up me, which is just not going to happen at all. I do way too much research, and I've been working on these systems for just too long. I double check everything like 7 times, and these people come in with nothing, and they want to pick fights in meetings, and so they try to one up me, and I go, okay, cool, you want to have, go ahead, no, let's hear it. You're tying up 9 people's time. No, let's hear it. Come on. And then you can tell management going, oh shit, here we go. It's like, what? No, this is your golden child. Come on, let's hear all about it. I mean, I've been working on this for 6 months, 9 months. Yeah. No, let's hear it. No, come on. Let's hear it. waste 20 minutes of the meeting, and then they'll waste 20 minutes of the meeting, and I'll go, well, dang it, we don't have a lot of time left. Well, thanks, everybody. Then they all leave, and I'm like, okay, I guess now we're having the real meeting, and I've been doing this for years now. Eventually, those people wash out. Not because I'm marginalizing them, but because they're occupying large, overwhelming portions of the meeting grandstanding, because that's what they perceive as exuding, confidence, portraying, confidence, projecting confidence. I just let them do it. It happened again the other day. I just let them do it. It doesn't bother me anymore. Is that how it's supposed to work? No. So what I will say, quiet in meetings, Quinn, if you have a good facilitator, and if you don't have that political BS, which is usually me facilitating, unless certain managers are in there, when I am facilitating it, usually I give the whole stinking report out myself, and then I just call on people to fill in the holes. And that's how my lead did it before me. I could have given the whole thing myself, but dude, if he wants to give 6 hours of report outs of the 10 million things we're doing, I'm just gonna let him. I mean, he gave us all the credit. He just did the report out, so it was really nice, actually. And so that's what I do. And then I let people fill in the gaps. And then whoever fills in the gaps are the people who want to make sure they get credit, and I give them their credit. And people tell me, apparently, that's what makes me a good lead. I just wish I was able to save some of the people I wasn't able to save. Anyway, question 4. I have situation. I keep seeing advice that you should never say no to extra work or you'll be labeled lazy. Is agreeing to wow, I actually wanted to bring this up. Is agreeing to everything actually the path to respect, or does it just lead to burnout? Yes, man, Yannick. It doesn't lead to burnout. It leads to over promising and under delivering. You're not going to burn out. You're going to start making mistakes, and you will just not be able to complete everything. And other people are going to have to complete it for you, and then you're going to have to go back and give them credit, and everyone's going to say, well, you said you'd take care of that, and now you're offloading your work onto other people who didn't budget for that time. I'm actually dealing with that exact situation with somebody right now. They took on way too much. I called them out. The next morning, I called them out again. Both times everybody agreed with me. And then in the next breath of the next sentence, they gave them more work. And it's like, oh my gosh, you guys are just not even absorbing what I'm saying. So that is not what leads to burnout. That just leads to you screwing the whole team over big time. But the people doing that, if you can do that well and reabsorb the optics over and over and over again, you will look amazing, but you will piss everybody off around you. And sooner or later, people are going to stop helping you. And then you're going to be left with the bag. And it's going to be a very bad look that you weren't able to properly delegate and share work with your team. And so one of the hardest things to do is not say no, but don't volunteer. And if someone is trying to shove more on your plate, you have to say, give them the top 5, top 7 things you're working on and saying, like, look, which one of these is the priority? And then listen to what they say. If they say, well, just move meetings around, it's like, okay, most of these are your meetings. Do you have any other ideas? Can you tell me when you need these done by? And a lot of times what will happen is people are saying things are priorities, but they're not priorities, or they're only priorities to them when you don't actually know when they need to be delivered by. Or sometimes it means that they had to have it delivered by some certain point and they made it your problem. You can figure out a lot of that. All right, question 5. I have situation. There's this idea that lunch with coworkers or after-work drinks are mandatory for building relationships. Do you really have to socialize outside office hours to get ahead? Can introverts secede too? Ooh, good grief. That's tough. Do you have to socialize outside office hours to get ahead? Yes. I know that's not the right answer. Can introverts secede too? Yes, but it's a challenge. The social butterflies just do better. They are a type of personality that all bundle up together like a big ball, and they all can be losers and failures together and just zerg swarm everything and just gang up on it. And then just shove the work over to you while they just screw off all day and then get shit-faced hammered at night and then come back to work late the next morning and you're already at work, and then they look at you like you're the bad guy, and then they bitch about their hangovers to lunch to where they're already planning on where to get just smashed again the next night. Really what it is they are alcoholics, and they use after hours socializing to consume more alcohol because they are alcoholics, and they love to surround themselves with other people who are alcoholics, and they drink. They work 6-7 hours a day, and then they drink for like 6 or 7 hours a night. And this is what business travel, that's the crux of business travel right there. People come into town, they work 6-7 hours, and then they drink for 6 or 7 hours. They wake up the next morning, come in late, work 6 hours maybe, they drink for another 7 hours. You are going to be outed very fast if you can't keep up with that. They're going to tell you that you don't need to do that, but that is a lie. They are not supposed to do that, but they 100% do. And if you're in that kind of a culture and you're an introvert, you're not going to be successful because you're not going to be perceived as part of the culture. What you can try to do, if you have the stamina, first of all, make sure you have enough food to do this. This was one of the mistakes that I made, because when these people just absolutely get shit-faced off their ass for like 7 hours, I'm not even exaggerating, a lot of times they won't eat. They just drink non-stop. They don't eat. And so, if I've been up since 4:30 in the morning so I can commute in, do a full 9+ hours of work, this is also why I bring like 3 days of food with me when I go in the office in case anything like this happens. I can eat something for, breakfast, lunch, and then just before they hit the bars, I eat something, and then hope when I get to the bar, hope that the bar has food. They do not always. I have been to plenty of bars, and again, I don't drink. I've been to plenty of bars that have no food. I've been to other bars that have amazing food. Sometimes you go to bars and everything is fried, and it's just gonna, kill your stomach. Other places, they've got like the best nachos I've ever had in my life. And so even if you're introverted, if they have food there, decent food, or if you bring snacks with you, you can at least keep your energy up enough to do what's called like make an appearance. But if happy hour, wink wink, starts at 4 and they say they're not going to eat till 7, no, sayonara. I learned my lesson. And one of the last happy hours I went to, I asked for, some kind of cheeseburger, some kind of something. And the whole menu was in German, and the guy scoffed at me and left and never even brought me a menu and brought everyone else. I had offended him, and he didn't even bring me another glass of water. I was there for 2 hours. He brought me 1 glass of water and nothing else for 2 hours, and all my friends were there, and I was sitting there in the corner, and we were so cramped I couldn't even get to see the rest of my friends. I saw them right when they walked in, and then I saw them for a second after I left, and that was the last time I saw a lot of my old coworkers. Fuck that place. These people have no idea, meaning like the people at those bars and stuff, they just, yeah, it's a real sore spot. You have to learn how to make an appearance without making yourself sick from burning through your energy. For the rest of you extroverts, introverts burn through insane amounts of energy in social situations because they have to keep a mask up, and during the Rona, introverts did really well. And now that everyone's returned to office, the introverts are really hurting, and the extroverts are just swarming like absolute locusts to the point where you can't even get any work done in the office anymore because there's like all the introverts left, and the office is probably 70-80% extroverts now. And I bring tons of food. It is the only way I can maintain enough energy to deal with this absolute horde of social butterflies. Question 6. I have situation. I've noticed some colleagues take credit for team efforts. Oh, wow. Take credit for team efforts, and it seems like it works for them. Is credit stealing a smart career move that pays off, or does it usually backfire long term? No, you can fail your way upward and become a manager doing that. Credit wary Carl. Failing your way up now, just brute force out surviving everybody, is like how everybody's getting ahead now. Just absolutely walking on the backs of everybody and wearing them out. That's what I'm dealing with. I may very well actually for the first time ever be either failing my way up or failing my way out, depending on how the chips fall. Stealing everybody's work and stealing everybody's credit must be a good thing, because it is what a massive amount of my coworkers do. And it's what all of my coworkers have been doing my entire adult life, is stealing all of my work and literally stealing my work and throwing their name on it and presenting it. There was a gal who was making $1 million sales. She was selling this app that we had for $1 million a pop, telling me that my presentation was wrong over and over and over and over, and had me redoing my presentation over and over and over and over and over. And I found out later she had been giving my presentation and selling the app at $1 million a pop. And then they cut me loose just before the what's it called, the bonus based on the sales for that year. After the day that I synced my entire project back with the server. Yeah, it's a very smart career move. Does it backfire long term? It does backfire long term, but you make a lot of money in the meantime. Every single person that's ever done that to me has either completely stalled out after I didn't make it anymore, or they were just completely phased out entirely and completely ran out of the entire, what's it called? The entire market. Alright. I have situation. People say dress for the job you want, no matter how casual the office actually is. Does overdressing really accelerate promotions, or can it make you stand out in the wrong way? Suit and tie skeptic Sam. I think there's a figurative and a literal meaning to this. I used to take it figuratively, literally. But figuratively speaking, dressing for the job you want means actually just doing the job that you want to do. And so that's how I've worked my way up this whole time. I started as a server admin, and then I worked in receiving too, which kind of gave me both kind of spectrums of all the stuff I was printing out, and then got to go down to receiving and see how it was all used and stuff, and then went back to the server room and worked on the server some more. Worked in the print shop. From there I did software QA, then I did load balancing, and automation, and all the way up to software QA and tech writing and auditing, and now finally a tech lead. I was constantly trying to do my job and the next job over and over and over again. And that's how I worked my way up. Although some people just call that resume fodder, but I don't care. You're trying to build a story with your resume. At least you used to be. It's not so much the case anymore. Do you need to dress for the job you want, though? You have to. It's kind of like a gray man thing. You have to dress like how people expect you to dress. You have to fit the image that everybody sees you as. Putting clothes on in general is a form of illusion, just like putting makeup on, as I call it, war paint. It's an illusion, right? Clothes, your hair, your ring, your necklace, your earrings, whatever. It's all an illusion. You are projecting. You're projecting a part of a message, and it all has to line up with how you talk, how you articulate, how you dress. Are you wearing a mechanical watch or are you wearing a digital watch? What kind of pen are you holding? Do you fidget a lot? All your nonverbal communication. And it takes years and years and years and years and years and years to be able to manage that. And if you're an introvert, it is really hard. It takes massive amounts of energy, like I said. And then sooner or later, you just reach the point where you just dress however you want and you just stop giving a shit and you just let your work speak for you. But I used to wear cargo pants because I liked cargo pants and everyone was making fun of me. I thought the cargo pants looked nice. I think I've said this story, told the story before. And I just liked having lots of pockets, and they kind of look like khakis. I thought they kind of looked like khakis, and everyone was making fun of them. me because they had loops for hammers, and I'm like, I didn't know that's what those were for. I just thought these pants looked cool, and they kind of look business casual. I thought everyone's like, those are painters pants. I'm like, are they? I mean, I just like the pockets, for all my EDC stuff, and they made fun of me, but you know what? I'm like, well, I have more pockets than you. I was just like, kind of went on my way, and I'm like, I can carry like 7 things in my pockets and you can't. So I've got my notebook and my pen, and I can fit a whole notebook in my pants, and you can't. So you're an idiot. But now what I tell people is, it's like, I've got to walk back outside, and I can't look like I work here when I'm out there. That's what I tell them. I don't want to look like all of you when I'm outside this office. Sorry, guys. If you're a chick, I'm sure that's just a completely different scenario. So, gals have a whole different scenario. So none of that's advice on what the gals should do. Gals just dress up as hot as you can and then just glare at everybody like an ice queen, and then hope the other gals don't get pissed at you. Question 8. I have situation. I've heard that complaining about workload or bad management is career unaliving. Is it true that you should never voice concerns upward, or is constructive feedback actually valued? Feedback fearing Fran. Oh boy. It's usually okay if you come to the boss with a solution. But if your boss is the kind of person that automatically is going to reject whatever solution you have, then you don't ever come to them with problems. That's rough. That's a whole... You'll find out if they can handle it or not, and if they can't handle it, you just never come to them with problems, and you just smile and go, everything's amazing. And then you find somebody else who can help you manage your workload. Question 9. I have situation. Remote hybrid work has some saying office face time is still the only way to stay visible. Do you really need to be physically in the office most days to be considered for big opportunities? Remote worker Rory. There has been a lot of stigmata over having to be physically there. The issue with that, though, is a lot of places, like I worked at this one place where we had like 4 or 5 different offices. When you're spread out like that, I worked in a couple places where they have like 4 or 5 offices. Shit isn't like... Actually, all the big tech places are like that now too. So there can't really be like a big stigmata over FaceTime being the only way to stay, like in-person time being the only way to stay visible, because by definition, your team is like 5 different sheets of the wind. That usually helps even the playing field a lot. So, do you need to be physically in the office most days to be considered for big opportunities? Not anymore. If you're in an office that's already spread out to hell and gone, because they can't discriminate against any of those people either. Question 10. I have situation. There's a common belief that the boss's favorite golden child... Oh, that's hilarious. is untouchable and always wins. Is favoritism usually permanent, or do office dynamics shift more than we think? Not the favorite Nate. Yes, the golden child is untouchable. You should know that. Is favoritism permanent? Hell yeah, it is. Do office dynamics shift? Only if the head of the snake goes somewhere else. And then the paradigm shifts as everybody reforms alliances, which is why you should always have your own alliance and make sure your alliance is stronger than their alliances. It sounds like I'm joking, but because I always talk in this tone of voice, but I have an alliance at work, because I'm always going up against multiple other alliances at the same time. I've had unofficial cross-functional teams as much as like 12 to 14 people in the past, like cross orgs, and they all didn't always know each other either. But then one time when I realized I was on my way out on one of them, I got that team together and I had the whole team meet for the first time. I was like, none of you know this, but you've all been secretly a team for like a really long time. And I had them all meet each other. Most of the time, my team, my alliances don't all meet. They don't all even know each other necessarily, which is good for them. But I keep them all safe and moving forward, and we all watch each other's backs. I mean, a lot of people will say like a job interview is like dating or vice versa, and I would say like the job itself is like prison, like corporate, even like warehouses and stuff, like it is like prison. A lot of people will say it's like school, it's like high school or something. It's like prison, except usually without the violent bits. You have to identify who their network is before they can identify who your network is and be able to operate around that network. It's tough. You have to be really careful who you align with, and you have to make sure that they don't split you guys apart. And you have to make sure whenever you get a new person that you just don't assume they're going to be on your team. You kind of set the pieces up for them and say, you're going to see some things, and it's going to be up to you to decide where you're going to put your alliances. And I'm not telling you who to talk to, and I'm not telling you who to not talk to. I'm just going to tell you that you're going to see some things, and you're going to have to make some decisions. That's what I tell them. It's like, because you can't tell people to not talk to people, and it's not going to work anyway, because everyone's adults and they're going to go make up their own minds anyway. And sometimes you bring on a new person, and sometimes you lose them to the gossip. Sometimes they would rather try to be friends than try to make strategic alliances, and they make friends with the wrong people and make promises they can't keep, and then you're left holding the bill. Unfortunately, then you got to undo a lot of the things that they did. And you realize that the deck is stacked and they went into it alone without any backup. It's like prison. It's absolutely insane. And people, it's just a job. It's just a 9 to 5, man. No, this is your whole life. Corporate and warehouses and stuff, like, you're messing with people's lives. You're messing with their entire family's lives. People will fight for these jobs. They will ruin your entire life just so they could work one day longer than you. if there's even a chance they can get a lead position, even if they've worked less time and done less work, they will. It's brutal. But it's not permanent. It is not permanent. Because sooner or later, whoever the head cheese is that they're all orbiting around, sooner or later that person orbits away. And then the rest of their little orbit falls apart. Which is why you have to orbit around people that are really strong. And then you have to sometimes be the backup orbit. And I was not the backup orbit this time around for a really long time, but I fell into it again. So here we are. Bonus question. Bonus round. I have situation. So much office advice. Paints the workplace as a cutthroat battlefield. This is insane. Where everyone's out for themselves and trust is naive, making it feel exhausting before you even start. Is the biggest office myth that corporate life is inherently toxic and soul-crushing when actually most workplaces run on cooperation, decent people, and mutual success if you navigate smartly. I swear that AI does this on purpose. Hopeful but not cynical, Corey. No, the office is 100% a cutthroat battlefield. Everybody is absolutely out for themselves. Don't trust anybody. It is absolutely exhausting. Corporate life is inherently toxic. It's absolutely soul-crushing. They do not run on cooperation at all. They run on just backstabbing the living hell out of each other. There's very few, if any, decent people left at all. I have no idea where they all went, and they did not tell me where they went. I cannot find them. Mutual success? Yeah, because a bunch of people are riding your coattails. The closest that you hope to find is if you work for a very, very small place that plans on staying small. Keeps it small. 12-man teams. No women. That's just reality. I don't make the rules. Yeah. And leaves everything at the door when they come in, and then leaves everything in the office when they leave. And you watch each other's backs, and you keep it tight. Yeah, that's if you want to run with cooperation, decent people, and mutual success, you have to work for some place that's really, really small. Not medium, who still thinks they're small. Not large, who has little small bits. Because if you're a small bit in a big cog, you're going to get eaten. For example, if you're careful with your budget, some other org is just going to take your budget. Yeah. Ringo knows. Ringo knows all about that. So, yep. You have to set expectations, and you have to be just as cold-blooded, ice through your veins as everybody else. The only difference is they're all doing it with a smile on their face, because they're all just absolutely getting drunk off their ass after work, or just stoned out of their minds, or they're on so much prescription meds that they've got no idea what's going on, which is why they say stupid shit all the time and they're never held responsible, which is why there's just like rampant sexual harassment at work and nothing's ever done about it, because they're so blitzed out of their minds they have no idea what they're doing. And nobody's going to hold them responsible because the whole thing is just a giant mess. I mean, you've inherently got overwhelmingly amounts of women in power. You couldn't get them on sexual harassment even if you wanted to, because it's all their buddies in charge of everything. Just as one example, the corruption goes all the way up to the top. They're all buddies. They all know each other. They don't let you get above a certain level unless you're just as culpable in everything as they are. So you swim around the pond and just try to avoid being eaten. And you form your little team and you just do your best and try to work within the confines of the system. And you make a difference that way, if you're okay with that. And when you see opportunities to hold them responsible and to do the right thing, you make the judgment call. And you hope that the system works, but it never does. And one example of that is this whole thing going on with the Somali daycares. Do you think anyone's going to be held accountable for the Somali daycares? Fuck no. Just like nobody was held accountable for like the Flint, Michigan water thing. It's like nobody's held accountable for any of the other, I don't know. I bring those up because that's what I follow on Twitter and the oversight committees and stuff. Just like Hill Dog's emails. She had her servers like bleached, but everything is gone. She's never held accountable a day in her life. The Comey thing, like, oh, nobody's gonna prosecute that. Shut up. Like, it's corruption, corporate, federal, state, county, all the three-letter agencies. The whole corptocracy of private corporations and federal being in the same boat together. You've got to be able to do your best. Do your best and follow your heart. That's what I wrote about in P&W Affliction for years and years and years and years. Like, you got to draw the line somewhere. Sometimes whistleblowers get their day. You just got to watch your back and be smart. I guess that's why I like Shadowrun so much. Shadowrun's always about, the little guy making a big difference, But you're going to make a difference in ways that people are never going to see and they're never going to know about and they're never going to know your name. But you just keep working on things in the shadows. Not sticking your head out, because every day that you get to work is another day that you get to fix something, make somebody's day better. If you're really lucky, you get to hire somebody. You get to fix things for people. Like, that's why I loved being an auditor. People tried to weaponize me all the time, but I always went in and just kept fixing things and kept making people's lives better, but I just did too good of a job. And they were able to just kind of phase the whole thing out, and it just became a rubber stamp. Unfortunately. Whatever. It's good. That's nice, I guess. If you guys, 7-8 years worth of work, just worked myself out of a job. So, I wasn't able to pivot. They hired other people for every single thing that I had fixed and cleaned up. Every single thing that I fixed and cleaned up, they hired somebody else for. I was really, really good at what I did. But they never wanted me to stay and maintain. They always wanted me to be fixing new things over and over and over and over and over. And eventually one day I just ran out of stuff to fix. You'd think that wouldn't happen with a multi-bajillion dollar company. But it does. It does. You can eventually fix everything, even for a multi-bajillion dollar company, to where they start beating out all their foreign counterparts. Become like number one departments in the whole world versus all of the other departments of all the other orgs of all the other parent companies, subsidiaries. and then not even get invited to the ceremony. So you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with just being in the shadows and getting just enough recognition to the right people so that you can keep going. And that's hard. That's exactly why I wanted to do this episode. I know this seems like way out of left field, but this is the line I walk of corporate hell. But it's a mindset. You have to have the right mindset. And then burnout is a whole different problem. Burnout's when it never stops. So, yeah, anyway, I'm going to gonna wrap this one up, and appreciate y'all. And I know I keep delaying the inevitable final episode, but I'm having too much fun with these. But I really do think this is like the last one before I do the final episode. I'm going to do like 2 or 3 more, though. Keep hoping more will come to me. But anyway, we'll all make it through this together, and there's still time to prep. And just hang in there. There's still hope. Don't be hopeless. It is harder. Yes. It's more challenging. Yes. But you can still rise to the occasion and be a better you. You're going to be forged in a hotter fire. You're going to be better, smarter, faster, more resilient. You just have to, I hate to say work harder, because that's not it. It's not even working smarter. You just have to change your mindset and buckle down. Kind of see the world in a couple of different ways. Alright, so y'all take care, and I know it's easier said than done, so leave a comment down below and I'll try to help you out. Alright, I used to give corporate advice all the time, but nobody gave a shit, so I went back to prepping stuff. But anytime y'all want, we can talk about corporate stuff till the cows come home, because to me, corporate survival and shit it's the fan may as well be the same damn thing. Alright? Y'all take care now. Bye. Bye.
So I've been working from home lately, but I go into the office sometimes. I basically wake up whenever I want. Sometimes I sleep in. Being able to sleep in is nice, but I'm at home now and stop paying taxes. Taxes are dumb. Yes, they are. So I work from home with my shit. I got another spam call. Spam calls are dumb. Yes, they. So I work from home now, and I go back to the office sometimes and talk about Star Wars. We talk about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, literally anything but work. No, not Star Trek. Star Trek is dumb and not talk worthy. No, go away, Trekkie, you can't hang out with us. Oh hey, my food's done. Gotta go back to my desk. Good luck not burning your food. So I was talking about Lord of the Rings in the office, and this cute gal overheard us and bounced up to me. She wanted to watch the trilogy again, but not alone and on a bigger TV. Then after a few breaks at the office together, drinking coffee, instead of riding the crime rail home on a Friday, she decided to come home with me.
we both work from my home, and her cat's running around crazily, and she doesn't go in the office either, 'cause the office is dumb. And sometimes just off camera, she makes cute winky faces at me. And maybe someday we'll have a family. Oh, hold on, I'll be right there. I just gotta email the 5 things I did today to my boss. Ready?